Hey, thanks for dropping in. My wife's requested Cambozola, or blue brie, pasta for dinner tonight. I'll explain what that is in a moment, but first I have to pick up one last ingredient. There they are. Oh yeah, these'll work. Alright, I'm back home. And these are my past ingredients. Oh, wait, can't forget the most important one. This is Cambozola, sometimes also called blue brie. Think of it as the love child of French camembert and Italian gorgonzola, hence the name. Ironically, despite the French-Italian similarities, it's actually made in Bavaria in southern Germany, which I didn't know until I researched it for this video. Like camembert, Cambozola is extremely rich, soft, and smooth, and it has a similar milky white rind that's absolutely irresistible. Trust me, I'm munching it down as I make this video. On the flip side, Cambozola also has blue-green veins running through it. That's because, like other blue cheeses, like Gorgonzola of course, and also Stilton, Maytag Blue, etc., it's been spiked with a penicillium mold. This gives it the signature blue flavor. If you're not a fan of that slightly bitter, salty, funky taste, don't worry, because Cambozola is at the very low end of that scale. It is to blue cheese what a California roll is to sushi, or an Anaheim pepper is to hot peppers. A great introduction. Alright, back to the ingredients. We're also going to need a couple of cloves of garlic and about 5 or 6 fresh sage leaves. I just need to finely slice the garlic. Like so. I'll leave the sage whole because I'll make a nice garnish. I've also got 2 cups of dry pasta. I'm using rotini, but feel free to switch it up with whatever you prefer. I've also got 2/3 of a cup of heavy cream for the sauce. And the mushrooms I just picked up at the store, which I'll quickly slice up. There. Notice that I only sliced up the delicate caps of the mushrooms. The woody stems I've reserved, and I'll save them for something else, like making stock, or to add to fried rice. And now that all the ingredients are ready, I can start to cook. It begins by melting a couple tablespoons of butter. And yes, I'm using a wok to make the sauce. It may seem weird, but I find it so much more convenient when it comes time to toss the noodles. And as for the butter, ideally it'd be unsalted, but I only have salted right now. That's fine. It just means I have to be more careful when it comes to seasoning. Once the butter's melted, I add the sage leaves. They're going to add a ton of earthy flavor to the butter, and they'll also turn super crispy, almost like chips. They're going to add texture and flavor while looking beautiful on the plate. I just need to let them do their thing for a couple of minutes. Alright, these sage can come out. See how they firmed up? I'll set them aside on a paper towel lined plate to drain. Next, in go the mushrooms. These I want to fry until they release all their water and take on some nice brown color. That'll take about 5 minutes. Oh, and by the way, I didn't film it because I assume most people already know how to cook dry pasta, but on another burner I've got my rotini boiling in a pot of salted water. Ideally, by the time they're al dente, my sauce will be ready, and I can just marry them together. My mushrooms are nice and toasty brown, and I can now add the cream. I'll follow that up with the cheese. I've cut it into cubes so that it melts easier. I'll add just a couple of cubes at a time and let them dissolve into the sauce. Now, I mentioned earlier that Cambozola has an edible rind similar to brie and gorgonzola. You definitely do not want to add that rind to the sauce. It won't melt, and you'll be left with slightly rubbery bits of rind in your pasta. Do what I did and cut it off, and just eat it as a snack while you cook. After 2 or 3 minutes of simmering, the sauce should be just about ready. I give it a taste to make sure the seasoning's okay, and it's good. The salted butter I used at the beginning, plus the cheese, means I don't need to add any extra salt. But it does need a little bit of freshly cracked pepper. The final step is to add the cooked rotini and give everything a toss. The sauce will thicken as it sits, but I actually want it to be a little bit loose, so I add a little ladleful of pasta cooking water. Then it's time to plate. And here's my rotini with Cambozola cream sauce, mushrooms, and crispy sage. I can't even tell you how delicious this pasta turned out. I'd get my wife and daughter to do it because they both loved it and devoured 2 servings each, but unfortunately they both already gone to bed. You'll just have to take my word that it's really, really good. The mushrooms are meaty, yet delicate. The sage works both as a textural garnish and you pick up notes of it in the sauce. And speaking of the sauce, it's creamy, it's rich, with just a hint of tangy blue flavor lingering in the background. About the only problem with this dish is I didn't make enough of it. My family polished off in no time flat. Next time, I'll definitely have to cook up a bigger batch. And that's it for this week's video. If you enjoyed it, please consider giving me a thumbs up or dropping a comment. And if you make this dish, let me know how yours turns out. And if you also feel up to it, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.